Bat music. He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who just rhyme. It's Bat Minute! Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns. John. We got a couple of listeners out here. Tell them we're analyzing Tim Burton's 1992 Batman film 1 minute at a time. No. Tell them I'm the host now. Okay. You know what? Scratch that. Tell them we're looking at minute 74 today. Okay, and just we're gonna go through that 1 minute at a time. Okay, that's all right.
I know exactly what to say. Don't worry. I don't.
Yes. I wasn't too sure how we were going to do
that. I am the other host, John Parker.
You two have been doing this long enough. I'm taking over.
It's about time we had a break.
Yeah, you need a break. You two go on holiday. Bahamas is nice.
Ooh.
I'll take over.
Are you paying?
I'll take over. So, yes.
Excellent.
Oh, nice one.
Pay for everything up front and send the receipts to me.
Okay.
And I will sort it. Yeah.
But if people don't know, then that is returning from Monday. That's guest, friend of the show, Gary Gavigan. Yep. So that was his introduction.
I thought you were going to say hello.
Oh, no, I already introduced myself very dramatically. I didn't think I need to do it again.
But yeah. So minute 74, it begins with a Bobby bumbling, and it ends with Selina scrambling. So, let's jump on in here. As we were saying, like, in the last minute, we do have the brief return of everyone's favorite commissioner, James Gordon here. And I'm pretty certain this is him, like, come straight out of, like, an office Christmas party or something, because he actively seems like he's drunk here. Like, he kind of, because they look at the anchor guy is having to, like, put his arm around him and stuff.
He's holding him up.
Yeah, he's gonna come in and he's just like, oh, I found this in the scene. It is extremely circumstantial. And I don't know any Batman, and I don't think he would do this.
Well, that's the thing. I'll give Gordon one bit of praise here. Because although he does leap to this assumption that it's probably Batman, he does say it's circumstantial.
Yeah.
But back on the other hand, I mean, he is waving that damn Batarang around on TV, which is practically condemning the man right there.
That's one of those things, too. Like, would you be telling people this as well?
No.
Would this not be all like, no, this is secret evidence. We're going to, like, keep this under our hats until we know what's going on. And stuff like, oh, I mean, it looks like Batman did it, so people should panic, I guess.
The city would just go, everything would be chaos. And this is my question. Right, the instant assumption, just because that Batarang is there, is that Batman did it, right? But why? Why in every Batman story ever are they so quick to turn on him? Because he's never done anything remotely like this before to warrant them going, you know what, it must be him.
Well, John, you've just said every time that they say that he's done really bad things. So there must be multiple occasions where he's been blamed for doing bad things.
No, but like in different versions of Batman. Not necessarily this.
So not like in the same timeline.
No.
The same timeline where it's like somebody else blamed, like the Joker blamed him for doing something that he didn't do, and somebody else blames him.
Well,
for
see,
something
that would be
do.
good.
And somebody else, because then that's a kind of like the boy who cried wolf sort of thing. It wasn't me. But come on, Batman, now. It's like 5 times somebody said you did it.
That would be great though if it built like that, and then say there was a new trilogy. And each one, he kept getting blamed for stuff and having to convince people otherwise. And then in the final one, people just sort of completely turned their back on him. Like, no, we're not putting up with this anymore.
in 10 or 15 years' time, like the next generation of Batman, like everybody, all the kids watching it, it's called The Boy Who Cried Wolf. Don't even like
the bat,
or the wolf, bat.
Boy cried bat.
Oh yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
I will actually say though, in saying that, like, this is similar to Batman's always getting blamed for stuff. This actually does seem to be alluding to a comic storyline that we've talked about already. We've already mentioned the fact that Max Schreck seems to be kind of based on Rupert Thorne, and the whole trying to get like a proxy mayor in position was, with Max Schreck doing it with the Penguin, and in the comics, Thorne was doing it with a fella called Hamilton Hill. But it should be noted that in the storyline Hill's Descent, Hill, who at this point is a bit more of a, he's not so much a proxy, he is also just an active villain himself. He uses a replica of Batman's glove to incriminate him. And so it's just the fact it's all tied into the same storyline. It's like, oh, maybe they did just lift that from that. But at the same time, in the Penguin's first storyline, like way back when, he also framed Batman for a crime he didn't commit. So I guess it is just such a recurring thing. It's like, hey, they could have taken it from anywhere, to be honest with you. People just love just framing Batman. It's like, oh, this weird guy in a cloak and stuff. Yeah. And he's just like really weird, like dark. It looks like a big scary thing. Of course he's evil.
Yeah, and history is written by the victor. And Batman is often the victor. So he's probably not that great a person. He's out doing loads of really not very great things. And then beating up this poor man who lost his parents, and all he wanted to do was find his parents, and he's beating him up because he's a bit weird. He doesn't like them.
That's really the reason. Yeah.
Like, you're kind of going the same. That was what Alfred's attitude earlier. It was just like, what do you got against this Penguin guy, man? Like, it seemed to have a real beef with him.
Yeah. It's because he doesn't want two people with parent issues.
You're moving in on my patch.
Yeah, I'm the only one that's allowed to be grumpy.
But yeah, so we still do have, though, Gordon straight from presumably like previous Mayor Borg's, winter solstice party, or his Borg's box social where he's like serving Christmas turkey hot dogs, and he's got like a giant Christmas tree balloon or something. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna be, people are gonna come down to this party if I have to get a Yule log out there and beat them over the head with it. Yes.
I'm sure you have covered this in earlier minutes, but how about how the dog got the Batarang?
Yes. Yeah.
How did the dog get the Batarang? How does I know it went very slow on camera, hitting the guys, and they ticked them off one at a time as hit them, and then this little tiny shitty dog just went.
Yep, basically that's the answer.
Come on, Batman.
That's a carnival dog, super carnival dog.
A carnival dog. My mum had a dog like that, little twist of air.
Oh no! And was it trained to do evil? That's the difference.
Well, is it trained to jump into the air and catch a Batarang that's supposed to be flying at high speed that could knock a person out, kill it?
It's got a strong jaw.
That dog would have had no teeth and probably only half a head if it actually had caught that Batarang.
That would have been funny when it spits it into the Penguin's hand. All of its teeth come out with the Batarangs.
Or for the only thing the dog's been dead for 2 days, and the only thing holding the head and everything together was that it was quite warm when it sliced through, and it's cooked it. And anyway, yeah, I just thought it was a bit funny that a little tiny dog. It didn't even jump that high. The Batarang must have dipped down for the dog before, because it was going from head to head of tall people.
Yeah.
So how did it dip down far enough and then
keep telling you, Gary, it's a carnival dog. It can do anything.
Okay, well, I'll take it from you now, because I would never argue with you again after the whole Pele thing.
And it's actually called a Daug. That's how you pronounce the Daug.
Daug.
Well, that's the thing, actually, as well. I did a little look into who is this guy who's having to hold up Commissioner Gordon here. And this actor, his name is Robert Gossett, and he is in fact the nephew of Louis Gossett Jr. Well, there's a little thing for you. He's apparently quite an acclaimed stage actor. And one of the first things he got his start in was doing a production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which of course has had so many links to the Burton Batman movies already.
Oh God, loads.
But he's also appeared in a couple of different things. One that really jumped out to me in terms of an everything connected plus, and as also what is this movie? He's in something called White Man's Burden with John Travolta and Harry Belafonte,
White Man's Burden. This sounds like it's going to be a racist film. I'll be honest.
I'll read out the plot line to you here. So the story takes place in an alternative America where the blacks are members of the social elite and whites are inhabitants of inner city ghettos. Louis Pinnock is a white worker in a chocolate factory, loving husband and father of 2 children. While delivering a package for black CEO Thaddeus Thomas, he is mistaken for a voyeur, and as a result loses his job, gets beaten by black cops, and his family gets evicted from their home. Desperate, Pinnock takes a gun and kidnaps Thomas, demanding justice. I will add, this is 1995 John Travolta, was probably made while he was still kind of in production of Pulp Fiction. So this is that era of John Travolta where he was in absolute garbage. So it's a good chance this is not a good film. Although it does have 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb, which is, again, it's kind of halfway there. So you never know. Maybe
that's not that bad for IMDb.
Yeah, maybe it's got its fans, but it's just the fact that it has Harry Belafonte is Thaddeus Thomas in it. Was because Harry Belafonte, Beetlejuice. He's the Deo. That's that guy.
Everything's connected.
Yeah. I'll tie this damn thing into everything if I have to.
5.2 is pretty good for.
Yeah, but 5.2 is actually I mean, it probably is not going to be the best movie, but it could have been.
No, not for a movie. I mean, just for what's his face to be. I can't even remember his name now that we were just talking about.
But John Travolta or.
John Travolta. Yeah, that's pretty. Grease. Yeah. What was Grease? Like 6?
I imagine Grease is probably like 8 or something. Because I
don't know. Most movies are lower than you think on there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look. You boys keep chatting and I'll look it up.
Although I will say, apparently, I've just briefly looked up, the Rotten Tomato score is 24%, which is less encouraging. But Robert Gossett in a couple of different things as well. Most of them not worth really. There's one called How to Get Rid of a Body and Still Be Friends. One called Revelation Road, The Black Rider. But he's also in a movie, again, I know you guest of the show, Gary Gavigan. I know that you're a fan of. He's in Arlington Road, apparently, as FBI agent Whit Carver. So there you go. There's Robert Gossett doing. But I think apparently he does seem to be an actor of some acclaim, but I'm assuming it's all stage work is where he's getting his awards and stuff. But
Travolta, you mean?
No, this guy.
I'm only joking.
Famous thespian John Travolta.
John Travolta, he's a good lad. I don't have a problem with John Travolta.
John Travolta, he's a good lad. Put that on his posters, please.
Of course, then, because of this news that the Ice Princess has been kidnapped, and it looks like Batman might have done it, Bruce Wayne leaps into action. And the whole thing about this is that, I guess maybe, he doesn't have many people around when he has to go off and be Batman, but you think he would be a bit cooler and smoother about this as yep, so I gotta go. But this is an instant something's happened. The Ice Princess and him being I gotta go. Immediately think that something's up. If it wasn't for the fact that Selina is in the same boat.
Yeah. And I think that him being a bit fumbling and mumbling and bumbling is because of Selina. He's shook. to talk modern.
Oh, yeah.
He is shook. It's really messed him up. This woman's getting to him.
That is a very modern term, John. Shook.
Yeah, I'm down with the kids.
Now,
how do you do, fellow kids?
Do you remember that night that me and you spent about an hour trying to find that YouTube channel about this guy that just reviews things off Amazon?
I say we did. You were trying.
Oh,
I was just there.
No, you were there. You were there. But do you remember? And we spent over an hour trying to find it, and then it was through that. He says shook.
Now I'm shook to learn this information.
I still don't know what it means, John. Enlighten shook. Well, I sort of guess what it means, but
well, you can probably
you're just shocked. Is it just another word for shock?
In a good way. I'm trying to think how you word it.
Yeah.
In a good way, you're shaken.
Shaken, but in a good way.
Yeah, when
you
mean
oh my god, I just met Niall.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
There you go. Or someone does something amazing and you can't put it into...
Do you think, though, in the next generation of James Bond movies, though, he'll be vodka martini, shook, not struck or something. What's
Oh, no.
Shaken, not shook.
shaken?
I'm not one of you annoying children. It's bloody shaken. Don't shook my drink. Or I'll come over the bar.
But yeah, Selina has a great point here that really made me laugh because, as you said, Bruce leaps up and said, "I've got to get out of here." And she says, she's got a great point. It's his house. Yeah. She's like, no, I need to leave. But of course, he just wants to switch into Batman mode and go and solve this problem. He's kind of not thinking straight.
Again, he's doing that. No, I've referenced it several times in the show already, but it always reminds me of Lex Luthor in Smallville, where like someone would storm in and they'd be like, "Oh, Lex, you son of a bitch," and do a whole big thing. And Lex Luthor, it would always be looking like in the top right corner of the room while the camera's on him. He'd never face his people. He'd be holding like a brandy or a whiskey or something. And then he'd say something snarky and then walk out of his office and leave the person there. And it's like, so these people just kind of stand about his office like, do I go? Do I have to wait until he's down the corridor a bit until I can leave? Or like, what's...
I'd find his bottle and just drink it all. You take your glass of whatever you're drinking out of the room all smug, and I'm going to go empty your drawers. No, that sounded dodgy.
Empty your drawers.
Empty your drinks cabinet.
I think
it sounds like he's holding a gun to his head. Empty your drawers.
Also, we'll say as well, this would have been a conversation better for like knowing who the guests are next week because they would care more. But
I care now.
But I have to say, I really like Selina's dress. I think it's a really cool. You get to see it properly there. I like
Selina's dress as well.
It's nice without being too forward, which is the vibe she's trying to give.
It's a very kind of 1920s vibe to it as well. There's like, I love this little kind of the two layered skirt and stuff, and I love like the collar with the kind of weird thing sticking out of them. And I do have to wonder though at her choice of a short sleeved outfit when she's trying to hide this scar. Like where she wouldn't want people to see. You think she would go for like a longer sleeve?
Yeah, but it is on like the top of her arm.
Yeah, but I just never know when it's gonna like, with the way she put up her arm over the sofa when she's getting comfortable talking to Bruce last week. If the scar had been on the other arm, if they had been seated on the other side of the room, putting her arm up like that would have revealed that scar. It's like, oh, well, why take the risk? Why not just wear a longer sleeve? And why is it not even bandaged? Like, it's only been like a couple of days for that scar. You think that would be like, friggin', like you'd have to have that completely bound up with something. But
you'd want a medicated bandage on that.
It just looks as though like, oh, that happened like a year ago or something. But I don't know. People seem to heal very fast in Gotham. It's considered friggin' Jack Napier fell into those chemicals, had plastic surgery, and became the Joker within the space of about 12 hours. But that's the thing, though, because we're gonna get into this now. Like, so Bruce then, he's like, oh, makes his excuses and leaves, and then we enter into this. It's kind of like, they've got my Frasier mixed up with my Batman. Like it goes into full on kind of sitcom sort of situation here where Bruce is like, oh, Alfred, come over here, and then starts with like, oh, you have to tell Selina this and that, blah, 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 blah. And of course, then we're going to get in the next minute, Selina's going to do the same thing. It's entering into like bedroom farce territory, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's what it reminded me of.
Oh, no, I love it. I have one question as well, right? Does he first suggest to Alfred that his excuse here is to tell Selina that he had to go to the can?
Oh, I didn't pick up on that at all.
Right, listen to it now. Cut this bit out. Listen to it now.
No, I think it's tell her I had to go to town, I think is what he says.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because Americans don't really call it town. I think he says, tell her I had to go to the can.
I don't think so. I know Bruce Wayne's a bit of an idiot, but he's not that much of an idiot.
Yeah, but he quickly changes it and he says, no. And he comes up with another mumbling idea. Also, I love that he's getting Alfred to do his dirty work with the ladies again,
totally.
Like he did in the last film.
That is Alfred. That's what he's paid for. Dude. So Bruce was going to the can, as we discussed. I'm pretty certain he says we're going to town, like he's going to town, and then he comes up with some old generic bullshit now, basically like, big business meeting and stuff like that. And
I got a big business. I've used that before. Got a big business meeting. I gotta go quick.
You pretend you get a phone call. Something very important's happening at work. Bye,
Oh
sell.
yeah, there's a big rumble here. There's definitely there's a big business meeting coming up.
Alfred, I love the way he says, well, he knows exactly what to say, basically. Like, what a guy. Why doesn't he have anybody in his life, damn it? What a catch he is. Someone should be into him.
Maybe Alfred just knows how to multitask better. It's like, oh, he's got a whole family. He just doesn't. He just knows how to how to keep his Bruce life separate from his normal life.
Alfred's got 3 families.
Oh, he's a serial. Is it bigamist? Bigamist? Yeah.
All of the above.
Although those bigamist, that would be 2. So it would be polygamous, I guess, because you can't be a serial bigamist if you've like, well, there's only 2 of them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But I did actually have a little. I can't remember. If we did mention any of this before, it would have been way back the start of the last movie. But I did come across a little thing on YouTube of like Michael Goff, talking about Alfred. Like just talking about how he got cast in the part, was mentioning that he was in a production of Breaking the Code, which was a thing all about Alan Turing and the Enigma code and stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
And apparently he won an award for it. He played a character called Dilwyn Knox. Oh my god. But yeah, apparently then when he was accepting the award, Tim Burton saw him and said, oh, I know that man. You'd believe anything he said. We'll have him. So that was Michael Goff getting cast in the first Batman.
He just decided that they were having him. He didn't ask.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking that he did. He obviously
he just threw his hand in the air and clicked his fingers and said, "I will have him."
But that's the thing then, because Alfred and Michael Goff, he keeps describing Alfred as like, oh, I played him like an old-fashioned nanny.
Oh,
so basically, he's like his whole approach to this character is like, oh, he's like Bruce's nanny, basically.
He is essentially.
Yeah, but it's just very weird to think about. Like, oh, so I guess you wouldn't think the word nanny with Alfred, but that's what he's going for. He's going for
for a suckle, Master Bruce.
But again, that's the thing. Some of the dialogue here actually is a little bit muddled and confused in that, Bruce says that Alfred initially like, oh, I gotta go. And then Alfred, I do love this delivery. Like, I saw it, and this is like, oh, I've been watching TV in the other room as well. As that's all we do around Wayne Manor, sitting around watching TV. And then it's like, oh, I've got to go. He's practically begging me to show up. And then Alfred's like, which is why I hoped you'd snub him. And then Bruce goes like, oh no, I can't. There's been a kidnapping. And it's kind of like, but Alfred just saw the news report, so he knows there's been a kidnapping. So why are you reiterating the same point, Bruce? It's a bit muddled, is what I'm saying. Oh, well, that was the thing. One of the other things I discovered about Alfred, though, is that Michael Goff specifically said that he's based him on a real person. And he's like, yes, he's based him on a butler that he knew. The thing, I was watching it though, and I was just I started getting suspicions because he's like, oh yes, this person was very much a gentleman's gentleman, although he looked after a lady. And I was like, oh, and then the fact that it was like early 90s, Alfred knowing a butler of some acclaim who looked after a lady. I'm like, this isn't Paul Burrell you're talking about, is it?
Oh,
and I was like,
oh my god!
Alfred was based on
Diana's Rock.
Yeah, it's like Alfred based on infamous opportunist Paul Burrell and his. It's like, I don't know if that'd sit easy with me, man, knowing that. But
like, what about Paul Burrell would he have based it on? His theft or his being a twat? I'm biffed. I think the only thing that anyone, unless you're his mother or friend, knows about Paul Burrell is he's a thief and a twat. So like, oh, I've heard about this butler. He's a thief and a twat.
I guess maybe should explain to people listening if they don't know who Paul Burrell is.
A thief and a twat.
He was Princess Diana's butler for like several years, and then after death, like he kept popping up in TV shows and stuff, kind of just becoming famous for being Diana's butler. Seemed a bit of an opportunist, basically. He started like cashing in this woman's death, and then of course there were, it was Gary was alluding to there, accusations of theft and stuff lobbied his way as if he was swiping things from Diana over the years and whatnot. But
yeah, oh god! And then he famously went on "I'm a Celebrity."
Was it only accusations? Was he not actually ever convicted?
I'm not so sure. Actually, was he ever specifically
No, yeah, no, he probably wasn't. No, and I'm probably like, you can never air this because I'm going to be getting like
Paul Burrell himself has been listening to this.
Yeah,
All
Paul
you need to
Burrell,
do-
he'll be on this because he watches everything that Butlers are.
All you do is say allegedly, and it's fine.
Oh, can you edit it back and just put in allegedly and alleged twat? Whenever I said it, I'm probably not even allowed to say that.
I don't know, but I think you can posit that he's a twat. You don't have to make that an
Oh no,
alleged thing.
that's the thing I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say because that's some people don't like that word.
Oh, well.
And for good reason. So I thought maybe that might have been the one that needed to be cut out.
But yeah, apparently so. Michael Goff based it on one butler he knew, and then apparently on set location, he followed around the butler that was there. Like when they went out to the estates and stuff.
Why was there a Oh, the actual butler who worked for the person who owned the.
Yeah. And apparently from him, he's like, oh, I learned a lot of little things. Apparently, it's a big thing to never show your cuffs when you're a butler. It's like that. Apparently, no one, if you're serving people at the table, they don't want to see your dirty cuffs.
Oh, because they'll get dirty because you're cleaning, you're cooking. And,
yeah. And also, you're never to show a pocket handkerchief. And I was thinking weird in the little thing, his pocket handkerchief is clearly showing, and he's just like, "Oh, you're never to show a pocket handkerchief. This one is showing. It popped up of its own accord. It shouldn't be here," and sort of stuffs it back down. But even out of my head, it's like, why are you keeping it there then? If it's not, because it looks like it's in that proper like triangle shape and stuff. So it's like it looks like that's a well prepared pocket square you got there. Dude. But
I've never understood. Have I mentioned this on the show before? I feel like I have. I've never understood having a hanky in your pocket. Because once you use it, you're putting a dirty, snotty hanky back in your pocket. That's disgusting.
One of my wife's friends on Facebook were talking about how their kid has like learned to use a handkerchief, and I was a bit jealous, thinking like, because I don't know. If you have a kid, you're like, if any kid does anything, you're like, oh, my kid has done that. Yeah, the kid is a bit older. But then I was thinking about it, and like you just said, no, I'm never teaching my kid to use a handkerchief because it's a dirty, snot rag you put back in your pocket.
It's great. And then
no, just rub it on other people's arm. You're a child. To rub it on don't rub it on your daddy or your mummy. But if you've got anyone else, just rub it on them.
I like that much more because imagine cleaning the hanky as well. Either it's going to be wet and goopy or it'll be all crusty and old. That's
Yeah, John, I am 100% with you about the people that put them in their pockets. The only I have to point out now because I do put snotty, horrible handkerchiefs into my pocket, and I have to because I'm a father.
That's different.
But before that, if anybody it's disgusting, horrible, and anyone who does it who's an adult should be shot.
Yeah, you should be ashamed and executed on sight.
No, they shouldn't be ashamed. That's just how you are.
Gary's ongoing notes this week that how to be an adult. Don't have a favorite color, and don't use a handkerchief. These are the guides to being a modern adult. If
either of these things occur in front of me, I will be turning up at your door.
Just imagine, like at some point, like you sneezing at like a party or something, and some guy coming like, "Oh, here's a handkerchief. Oh, that's my favorite one. It's my favorite color." And just you like snot dripping out of your nose, like get the fuck away from me, you man child.
Yeah, do you know? I've just realised that it's a bit mean to want somebody dead just because they have a handkerchief. I probably wouldn't take them up on the offer.
Would you wound them? Perhaps break a knee?
No, thinking about it now, I would just be like, no, you know what? It wouldn't even. As long as they didn't make me use it, it wouldn't even make me feel uncomfortable. Why would they make you use it? I know. So it would be just like my whole, like, it's just me. Anybody else wants to do it all you want.
As long as nobody tries to chloroform me with their old stinky hanky being soaked in the chloroform.
So it was a nice clean handkerchief with chloroform, you'd be more susceptible to this.
Yeah, exactly. I'm fine with that.
So I've just got sort of become distracted here because I've been, looking back on the clip. Before Bruce comes out to Alfred, you get a little shot of like the doorway of the drawing room or the living room, whatever it is. And in front, on either side of the fireplace, just pause it there. What are these two creepy friggin' statues at either side? It's like two matching statues. It looks like someone kneeling down. It doesn't look like an animal. It looks like a human head. But it's someone like
a manimal.
Could be Manimal. This could be Simon Corkindale. It's finally been issued like in statue form.
Oh yeah, what the hell?
It looks like it's like a lion body, but then like a human head, but like a baby's human head. It's very, very strange looking. But it's two of them.
It keeps getting more meta. It's like a human.
I mean, if there was literally some sort of animal with a human head, and there was two of them, it would be a nice little accompaniment to the fact that, like, oh, in the living room, there's two people there who have alter egos that are animals and stuff. But it's just what is it though? It's because it's not big enough. I can't enlarge it enough to see exactly what it is. It's a real blink and you'll miss it kind of thing. But that's the thing actually as well. Like considering the fact that like Wayne Manor is always pristine looking. That must be so unsatisfactory though if you're the butler and it's just like you've only got this one guy in there and you've maintained this magnificent like estate where everything just looks fantastic all the time. And it's just like no one's ever here to see it. Like that'd be really, really upsetting. And just like, I guess I better go, dust the lampshades again. Not that anyone cares,
I really like when Bruce runs out as well, just before Alfred comes out. That floor, I think Alfred has cleaned that so well. If you notice, Bruce almost falls over when he stops, startled. He slides a little bit like, oh.
Do you mean he almost falls over because he's like, oh my God, you've done such a great job? or because it's slippy?
Both.
I'm a fantastic waxer, sir.
He nearly slipped. He was slipping, and then he seen how great a job it was and just rectified himself.
I just imagine though, again, like just like Bruce Wayne was sitting watching the TV when Alfred was decorating the tree. Just imagine like Alfred out there with the floor buffer. There's like the insane noise, and Bruce is sitting trying to watch the TV still. Like, you can watch that in the Batcave. I'm gonna have to, Jesus. Doing that thing where like he's got Alfred's coming past and he has to like put his feet up so Alfred can buff the floor underneath him and stuff.
Yes. When I was at work once and they came by with the floor buffer, I don't really know what you call them properly, but the big machine that cleans these type of floors. I admit I was like, can I have a go on that? Because it looks amazing.
You lay down and let it buff your.
I let it buff me all over.
Oh yeah.
No. I just wanted to move it around because they look like they're hovering and stuff.
Imagine you lay down thinking, oh, that'd be nice if it like buffs my genitals, and then it like rolled over you and just tore you to shreds.
Maybe that's what I want.
The ghost of John Parker is now hosting. This is his own personal purgatory. He has to finish all these Batman movies, and then he can ascend.
No.
That'd be the thing that is like, Batman and Robin has concluded. Now my soul can rest. It's like, Michael Keaton returns as Batman. No! It'd just be like a sitcom, like me and the ghost of John going to Hollywood to stop production on a new Batman movie.
You'll hopefully know the answer to this because he asked me this earlier. Where did Michael Keaton go?
Well, what do you mean? He's doing quite well.
No, I know. This is what I said to her. Yeah, he's come back. He's done that Birdman, and he's done loads of things since. And the McDonald's on there. Where did he go? She said though.
I think he just went out of favor. He went.
Why did he go?
Weirdly out of favor for a couple of years. Yeah, he had a kind of slump for a while. Don't know if it was like a bunch of bad decisions where like because it happened to Bill Murray too. As you remember, like he had that. Bill Murray's big deal in the 80s. During the 90s, he was in stuff, but wasn't anything really good. And then he kind of had the Lost in Translation came back, brought him back, and now everyone loves Bill Murray again.
So it was nothing he did. It was just sort of.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was involved in like a scandal or anything that kind of.
Oh no, I know, but I mean, what after? I suppose he did that Multiplicity, which was actually not very good film, but it was an okay film. But like. After the Batmans,
the thing, the paper, that was kind of like an Oscar bait kind of thing. Multiplicity, obviously, Jack Frost obviously did that. It's kind of notorious around this time of year.
Few classics.
Yeah, I remember he had that thing where he played the same character in Out of Sight, the movie of George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez, and then he played that same character in Jackie Brown. It was like because they're both based on Elmore Leonard novels, so it was like a kind of crossover thing. I was like, yeah, Jackie Brown and Out of Sight are set in the same universe. Michael Keaton is playing the same character, and then he just seemed to kind of vanish for a couple of years. He obviously popped up in Herbie Fully Reloaded with Lindsay Lohan. That post-grad thing with Rory Gilmore. And yeah, it just seemed to be sort of career in a bit of a downward spiral for a bit. And then...
So, no, there's nothing like... No scandal or anything of this?
I think it might have been just a bunch of...
I mean, it's not... Yeah, that's for a lot of people it is. They just sort of go out at the... Like, I mean, even Travolta, that was like he just came back out of nowhere. With the...
Yeah. He was...
I think you've got to reinvent yourself, basically, which I would say Keaton has done as well, because he was known before Batman for mostly kind of comedic or romantic kind of movies, or a mixture of the two, things like that.
And then that's the kind of weird thing, because it's like, well, now he's done Batman. Is he going to be playing loads of different heroes? No. He just kind of went and played villains for a while, because of Pacific Heights, and then he had that thing, Desperate Measures, where he was also like I was like, he was a kind of like Hannibal Lecter in that for a bit. And...
Was that the one where like with a hospital and there's that the guy, his kid or something? Oh, hold on, I'm gonna have to Google it.
Desperate Measures, the one. I think it's him and Andy Garcia and
Andy Garcia. Yeah.
And he's basically this Michael Keaton as Hannibal Lecter, where he visits him in prison and all that stuff.
That was a pretty good film. That's what I was trying to Google.
But no, that is one of the. I guess maybe just like the roles just dried up. Just maybe other actors became more popular, so they were getting the parts that Michael Keaton would have got, and just sort of cooled off for a bit. Now he's back. I think it was pretty much. I think it was about the end of the minute, really, isn't it? There's not much more to talk about.
Yeah, there's only one last shot here of Selina kind of still freaking out. She grabs all of her things and sort of starts leaving the room, and that's it.
It is this kind of baffling situation. Like, why did they make this date? Like, why didn't they just postpone to another day? Because one, Bruce there saying like, oh, he's pretty much begging me to show up, and so both him and Alfred are aware the Penguin was blatantly setting up, I want Batman to come to this. And then Selina was also like, so she's embroiled in the whole Ice Princess kidnapping. So why did they make this date? Like, why did they both knew it was only going to last about a half hour, I guess. They could have, like, because Bruce was very insistent, like, oh, no, we'll go and watch the treaty. Like, why not just go come around tomorrow night? Like, just do another day. If someone says, like, oh, I'm busy this day, you don't go, like, no, we'll go earlier in the day. You go, oh, we'll reschedule for another time.
Because he's desperate for a I don't want to sound crude. I was going to say a taste. But yeah.
It's like, Selina, I haven't had sex in a very long time, okay?
If we had video on here, and I am literally got my hand, like, and then I've got my finger of a different hand. And it's just, so it's like, if we had video, you might be able to hear it if I put it near the...
It's like, Selina, it's been me and this...
I think that is the reason.
It's been me and this one crusty old man, and that plays for well over a year. Like, I need some release. You have to come over. Let's say 5. Let's say 6.
But in the meantime, feel free to message us on Twitter at BatMinute, on Facebook at the BatMinute Listeners Cave, or whatever. We're everywhere. Just look us up. I don't care anymore. Look us up. Send us a review on iTunes. That's the best thing you can do. Even if you never speak to us, even if you never talk to us, just review us, give us 5 stars, and see you on Friday.
Next time, exit stage right. Bruce's purring paramour partakes in her own pratfalling pretext, and the domestic support is perceptibly vexed. But what ballistic bouncing battle armor will be taken off the rack as Bruce readies his next Batman attack? Find out next time. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.